Microphone check, microphone check. This is Two Tire Tirade coming at you from Crested Butte, Colorado. Forget about it. Check out this scenery. It just doesn't get much better. I don't know. It's gorgeous. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just spectacular. So we're gonna be riding up to Schofield Pass. It's about 11 miles. We're gonna go through the town of Gothic, and I'm pretty much sure this trail is called the Paradise Divide. So I don't think we're gonna go through Schofield Pass. It's just not on the agenda today. But we're gonna try to drive as far up as we can. I have actually been on the road since 4:30 this morning. I left basically Aspen, Colorado this morning and made it here to Crested Butte. Wow, talking about rookie mistakes. I left way too early. The pass that I went over was a Forest Service road. It was gorgeous as well, but honestly, I only saw half of it because it was dark by the time I got there. That really wasn't the issue, though it was a single lane dirt gravel pathway going up a steep, very steep, rutted mountain pass. And the problem was I was hypothermic. I mean, it was literally, I was literally freezing. I couldn't really move my hands all that well. And then the sun came up, which was nice because I started to thaw out, but the sun was stupid crazy. I am talking insanely, like, stupid crazy. The angle that the sun hit me, I couldn't see a darn thing. It was wild. There were a few times that I was completely blinded, and not just for a microsecond. We're talking like, 10 seconds where I had to stop the motorcycle, figure out my bearings, and move on. But I eventually got to Crested Butte safely and was able to have a phenomenal breakfast, fill up the gas tank, and reach my destination, which we are riding right now. When people ask me, well, why are you spiritual? And honestly, just look at my environment right now. What else could create such a beautiful landscape? It's got to be some divine, sublime entity that has created such a majestic masterpiece. I'm not going to get into my spirituality and my religious convictions, but I can say this. I feel I'm closest to that sublime entity when I'm in places like this. It's just truly epic and magnificent. Kind of talking about kind of spirituality and so forth. This month is July. I don't even know what day it is. It's mid-July. And I was kind of reflecting on that this morning on my way into Crested Butte. And I remember a year ago where my life was back in July of 2021. And I gotta tell you, I was in a phenomenally deep, dark pit of despair. So let's talk about it. I'm you know, pretty open about my feelings and you know, kind of my emotions. I will tell you this, without getting into it, I found out on July 3rd that I was getting a divorce after 20 years of marriage. And you know, this isn't really the social media platform to really get into the depths of it all, but all I can tell you is this, is that I was devastated by the news, and I found myself in a rather depressed state of being. And you know, mentally and physically, I was just all out of whack. So back then, I weighed about 270 pounds. I'm probably about 180 pounds right now. So over the last year, I've lost about 90 pounds. And, you know, physically and emotionally, in July of 2022, currently, I feel amazing. But in 2021, I was a hot mess. I was a hot, sticky, gooey, deplorable mess. And you know, emotional health is so important. It's just as important as physical health. And you know, the two coincide, actually. And at the end of the day, when I found out I was getting a divorce, that very day, I actually took a walk. And I took my dog out for a walk, and I could walk about 17 minutes. And I was out of breath, my feet were hurting, my legs were hurting, I was cramping up. I mean, vicious, painful cramps. 17 minutes, that's all it took. And I was like, well, I guess I need to turn back. But I loved being out there and walking, kind of getting away from myself and just being able to reflect upon the situation about what was happening in my life back then. And so that very day I said to myself, you know, I'm gonna walk every day, and I'm gonna just keep on walking. And that's what I did. Every day after that, I would walk just a tiny little bit longer. You know, the first day I think it was 17 minutes. The second day, it might have been 18 minutes. The third day, it might have been 20 minutes. But I did that, and I just kept on doing it. And after 2 or 3 months of just exercising, all of a sudden I found out, hey, why don't I start running? I started running, you know, walking 30 minutes and then running another 4 or 5 minutes. And I just kept on doing it. And I'll tell you what, after 5 or 6 months of doing that every morning, Rocky Mountain Biological Laboratory. That's interesting. All of a sudden I found that I, you know, I could run for 30, 40 minutes at a time. And during that time, I started eating healthy. It took me about a month to figure it out, but I stopped eating all the sugars and carbs, and I just started eating healthy, and I started losing about 4 or 5 pounds a week. I mean, I was running a ton, and I was just drinking water and liquid IV. Oh, I love some liquid IV. And anyway, after a year I lost about 80 or 90 pounds. I'm not sure on the exact weight loss because honestly, I didn't even start tracking my weight loss until I was down about a size or 2 on my pants. You know, it was probably October, and I started tracking my weight loss. So that physical exercise really entered or added to my emotional and mental well-being. But I wanted to just really touch on, how did I get through the emotional devastation of a divorce at 48 years old? You know, at 48 years old, I was thinking about retiring in 4 or 5 years. Like, I had my life kind of well planned out, where I was going to retire in 4 or 5 years and get a part-time job and, you know, just kind of settle down, to be quite honest. Well, that all changed. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not getting in my finances, but you know, I'll probably be working another 10 years full time now after the divorce, which is fine. But it's just really interesting because my life changed dramatically, and you know, everything was different at that point. But I found myself depressed and lost. And I remember, I gotta tell you this story, I remember about a week after what I call D-Day. It was like July 3rd of 2021, the day I found out I was getting divorced. I was just sitting on a park bench. I just needed to get out of the house, and honestly, I think I was crying. Just alone on a park bench crying. And I saw these 2 teenagers walking towards me. And these guys were legitimate hoodlums. It's the best way I could put it. They were smoking cigarettes. They were listening to, you know, rap music on their phone. They just gave the impression of being rowdy and mean. But as they were walking by, I just had this impression that I needed to talk with them. And I said, "Hey man, turn that up." And they were like, "What?" And I said, "Man, that beat is pretty good, turn it up." And they were like, they looked at me like I was nuts, and then they just sat down, they turned up the music on the park bench. What is this? This is a damn coyote walking down the road. Probably. That's crazy. That might be a diseased coyote, to be quite honest. Anyway, back to the story at hand. They just sat down and started talking to me, and they went on about how they were walking to the court facilities because they had a meeting with their probation attorney. They just kind of got out of juvie not too long ago, but what they were telling me is they stopped doing drugs, they stopped hanging with their gang friends, and that they're trying to turn their life around and really focus on freestyle rap music. And I was like, wow. And we sat there and talked for about an hour and a half. They were real early for the probation appointment, and it's me and these like 16, 17 year olds on a park bench just talking about life. And it was this amazing discussion. They were talking to me, they opened up their hearts to me, and honestly I did the same. And they said, "Hey man, we gotta go, we gotta get to this probation appointment." I said, "Man, that's awesome, it was so great." they were like, hey man, before we leave, we want to do a freestyle rap session with you. He's like, give us any topic at all, and we're gonna freestyle some lyrics for you. And I said, hope. Rap to me about hope, because I didn't have any. And man, these guys set up a beat on their phone and just went off on this lyrical masterpiece all about hope. And at that moment, I can tell you that I felt as if it wasn't just them talking to me. It was them, but also kind of my higher power, you know, my spiritual entity kind of speaking to me through them. And that's the day that, you know, two juveniles changed my life. They helped me get through the depression that I was feeling in a magnitude that I never felt previous. And from that day forward, I just had this hope. And I just want to tell people, I'm like, I wasn't sure how I was going to get through it. But through the whole process, the year-long process of this divorce, because my divorce was just finalized about a month ago, my only theory of thought through the process was, I need to find a way to move forward every day, to keep moving forward. And sometimes I'm crawling forward, inch by bloody inch. Sometimes it's a small walk. Sometimes it's a jaunt. And sometimes it's just a lethargic crawl. But by God, every single moment, I'm just viciously moving forward with every single ounce of conviction that I have. Never give up that fight. And if you can do that, sooner or later, you are gonna find your way out of that darkness. And you're gonna find that moment where despair and depression meet conviction and resolve. And if you keep your chin up, and if you keep fighting, conviction and resolve are gonna triumph. And I gotta tell you, I am so grateful for the last year, for the good times, for the bad times, because they got me to this place where I am now. And the place where I am now is this wonderful environment of hope, and of hope for the future, you know. And I gotta tell you, before the divorce, I didn't know it back then, but I didn't have hope. I really didn't. I just was kind of going through life. I wasn't living, I was surviving. And after the divorce, and after I fought my way out of that bad environment I was in, I found what I call, it's a kind of a Robism per se, but the divine spark of motivation. which I probably lost about 15 years ago. And the divine spark of motivation is just that eternal flame in your soul where it ignites in you something more powerful than survival. It ignites in you the passion to thrive and to smile and to make others smile as well. And once I found that again, there was no letting up, you know? I just felt good. And yeah, do I have bad days? Heck yeah, I have bad days. Everyone has bad days. But I have a ton of good days too. And I'm not looking at life day to day anymore. I'm looking at achieving goals and looking to do fun adventures, and I'm actually not just planning them, I'm doing them. I'm living this phenomenal existence, and I'm just so grateful for it. So, didn't really plan on talking about this today. I'm glad I am. This is a little dirty. Wasn't really expecting this, to be quite honest. But I just wanted to share that all with you. I know it's a bit personal, but it's a lot of fun. Life can be a lot of fun, and it can be filled with such wondrous memories, and you know, you just kind of have to make it happen. And when you're down, get your friends involved, go talk to someone, and never stop fighting. You can get through it. I guarantee it, you can get through it. So with that said, I am gonna take a water break and wish you all the best. Greetings from Crested Butte, Colorado.